So you're scared of having a bunch of houses because you're scared of getting sued. Well, today I'm going to give you a little bit of tips on a little thing called asset protection, at least to my understanding of it. Hi, my name is Matt Coach. I created this YouTube channel to share the tips, tricks, and mistakes on my way to building a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. And today, this Finance Friday, I'm just going to talk to you guys really quickly about asset protection in real estate and different entity structure setups and what's important in those spaces, why, at least my lawyers, at least as far as I have an understanding of it, set up LLCs and trusts and how they all feed into each other. So without further ado, let's get after that. Before we start though, I should preface that I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice, so you should in fact communicate with a lawyer about your specific situation and how you should set up your entities to best suit both your risk tolerance and your current needs. All right, see y'all later. All right, so general asset protection, protecting yourself in real estate in 2024. Again, I am not a lawyer. This is just my understanding of this, my very basic understanding of this. You definitely, whenever you're talking about LLC creation and trust and things like that, you need to talk to an actual specific asset protection lawyer. But you want to come in with kind of, a little bit of understanding so you can ask some questions and vet the lawyer a little bit, see what they've done. But here you go. General asset protection, how to protect yourself in real estate. So first thing you got is your house LLC, right? So this is an LLC that's registered in wherever you own that rental house, right? So whatever state that is, if you own rental houses in Ohio, you're going to have an Ohio LLC. And it holds the title of that house. So they'll say the ownership is, House LLC, and that'll be who owns the house. And the money that you get from the rents, it's going to flow upwards to the holding LLC, right? So you got multiple LLCs that you have to create, and the purpose of this is asset protection. So you want to stay anonymous, and you want to separate your assets from your personal liabilities. So if you get personally sued, your assets, your houses aren't the things that come into play, and vice versa. If you get sued for your houses, your personal assets don't get into play. You want to separate those things. That's what asset protection is. So this is the purpose of this. So where does the money go? Up to the holding LLC. So notice that you have multiple LLCs. So this one owns the house. Then you have the holding LLC. It's usually registered in either Wyoming or Delaware. And what does it do? It holds the other LLCs that own the houses. So if you own, a bunch of house LLCs, you have one holding company that owns all those house LLCs, right? The purpose of this is that all the money from those house LLCs flows up to the holding company. So we only have the one tax return for it because they all flow up to there. They're all owned by that one. Excuse me. So that's the purpose of the holding LLC. It makes kind of the numbers a little bit easier to understand, and it redistributes money. So if you have money in this house LLC and you want to move it over to this LLC, you can't directly change, because then you're basically connecting each LLC to each other. You're basically leaving that money trail. So what you need to do is go up to your holding LLC, and that holding LLC goes down back to that other house LLC to go buy new houses. Why do you have multiple house LLCs? Well, what's inside of your LLC is what you can get sued for. So if you have $1 million inside of one LLC, and then you have another $1 million inside of another LLC, each one of those are separated. So this LLC gets sued, it can lose $1 million, but it doesn't go into the $1 million of the other LLC. So that's important, right? So that's a question for yourself on how much money you're willing to have inside of one LLC before you need to start another one. But that's just a question for you guys, so you understand why you wouldn't have one LLC that has $10 million inside of it. Doesn't make a lot of sense. You'd rather have 10 LLCs with $1 million inside of them, so you're protected. Right? That's a little bit complicated, but the purpose is that you guys learn some stuff from this. Some basic asset protection tips. So where does the money go? The money goes from the house LLCs, right, up to the holding company, where the money can either go back to the house LLCs, right, to go buy another house, or it can go up to your house trust, your holding trust. And usually these are made either in Wyoming, South Dakota, or Nevada. Back in the holding LLC is usually from Wyoming or Delaware. You'll know that Wyoming, you'll see those kind of regularly. Wyoming is kind of the king state or queen state, whichever you guys prefer. But what does it do? It keeps an anonymity barrier between the holding LLC and its owner. So when you start an LLC, right, somebody's got to own that LLC, and if it's you, that is can be of public knowledge, right, if you do things incorrectly. So you don't want to have the actual ownership. You instead have a trust that owns your holding LLC. So there's another level of separation between you and your houses, right? So basically you have all the house LLCs down here, right, who own the houses, bringing in the rental income. All that money's flowing in to the holding company, right? And that holding company is shoveling the money up into the trust, which is there with its own bank account. Every one of these needs to have their own bank account to be separated. That is a rule. So if you start a new LLC, it's got to have a bank account somewhere. But it goes all the way upwards to that house trust, where it is then distributed to the beneficiaries of the trust. So the next step would be to have your beneficiaries, instead of being normal people, that the beneficiaries themselves would be another trust in whatever state that you live in, that creates the rules on your death of what happens with your estate. So who are the beneficiaries of the trust, and how it's going to be distributed. So that's what happens, right? So a trust has a grantor, right? So the grantor of the trust would be like that other trust, or for this one would be the holding LLC, right? And then there's the trustee, right? That's like managing the whole thing. So that would also most likely be this trust or a lawyer, and then your beneficiary would be you. So that's how these are squared away and set up. So this is how you kind of separate yourself from your houses, because if somebody goes to check the house, and they're like, who owns this house, they're going to see an LLC, and they're going to see, okay, well, who owns that LLC? Well, it's another LLC. And they're like, who owns that LLC? Well, it's a trust. And who owns that trust? Well, that's not public knowledge. So that is how you're protecting yourself with this. You're also separating with an LLC. It has its own rules of trust, but you want to make sure that you don't do a thing called piercing the corporate veil, where if your name is all over your LLC, then somebody can attach it. A good lawyer can attach it back to you and pierce that corporate veil, where so you no longer have that protection. So you don't want that to happen. You want this kind of setup. This may not be the exact setup that happens for you. Lawyers are different in how they do asset protection, but make sure you communicate with one and their game plan when you buy houses. Now, I should let you guys know that if you're one or two houses in, this probably isn't a big deal. But like I said, when you start having multiple house LLCs and you're going like, hey, there's too much money inside of one LLC, I need to separate it out so that I don't have a lawsuit that takes all of my money away, then this kind of stuff is important. So kind of put this in the back burner if you haven't even really started real estate yet, but it is good information for you guys to know, is that all of these are general asset protection principles. So see you all later. Hopefully that was helpful and informative for you guys. Bye-bye.